back of the identifying conic sections page of your notes, there is a little worksheet that I would highly recommend you go through and identify the conic sections and then put them in standard form. So let's go through what we just talked about. There's 10 problems here. I'm not going to require this assignment. You've got other places to practice this. However, I've discovered in the past that this is one of the main things people struggle with, and this is something that always shows up on a test or like the final exam, at least one of these. And so being overly prepared is always good. So let's identify this particular conic section by looking at the x squared and y squared. Obviously we have two terms with a variable squared. That means this is not a parabola. Then we look at the coefficients and they are both 4s. That tells us that this is a circle. Now how do we make this circle look like standard form? Well, every time we're going from general form to standard form, we want to group our like variables together because we're going to be completing the square. I hope you're getting the hang of that now that we've seen it in every section with every type of conic section. Okay, so I'm going to group my x's together, group my y's together, and now I factor out that a coefficient, and then from the y's that b coefficient. So that will leave us with 2x, leave some space for completing the square. Factor 4 out of here, that leaves me with 3y, sorry, and I did not leave myself space, equals -9. So now I'm going to complete the square by halving the -2, squaring it, adding it in, and then I have to add the equivalent value to the other side. So that would be 4 times 1 added to the other side. And this one, I'm going to halve that, so 3 halves, square that, which would be 9/4. So adding 9/4 is the same, times 4 is the same thing as just adding 9. So I'm adding a total value of 9 with this expression here, so I'm going to add a 9 to this side. Now here's the interesting thing, is when we combine this together, you know, those will go away, so the value over here will be a 4. This is working out perfectly. Of course it is, because it's a circle. So we get x minus 1 squared, because the number we get when we half it is the number that goes in our binomial. And then we have y plus 3 halves squared equals 4. And you might notice that we have these extra 4's in here. We do not want any coefficients here and here. A and B must change, so they are 1. So we need to divide everything by 4. That's going to take our equation to this. Look right here, x minus 1 squared plus y plus 3 halves squared. And then this side also divides by 4, so we get 1 there. We now know that the center of our circle is at 1, -3 halves. And the radius of the circle is the square root of 1, which is 1. And as long as we know that information, we can graph our circle. Let's see. I am happy to help you with more of these if you need them, if you decide to tackle this little extra practice page. If you want to do it, I'll give you points for doing it. If you don't want to do it, it will not count against your grade. So just be aware of that. But I highly recommend just practicing these. This drill, kill and drill for completing the square and identifying these conic sections, you'll just be grateful you had the extra practice to just kind of ingrain that for yourself. Now, if you'd like, you might want to save this later as a review before we take the test. Just another thought. So I don't care when you do this page or if you do it, I recommend it, and it can be now or it can be later when we're preparing for the test that will include this concept. Good luck. Let me know if you need